Virgo, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead. Now, keep in mind that these readings are general and may not resonate for everyone. So take the messages that do resonate and make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages there as well. Okay, that peace card is coming out for you. Let's take it. So bringing inner peace in is the beginning here of your reading. Let's see. What are we building on that for Virgo? What is the energy around the week ahead for Virgo? Truth be told. Message in a bottle. Ooh. Okay. Soulmates. Virgo and your soulmate. This journey with your soulmate, Virgo, keeps coming up. Okay. Bottom of the deck here is mending. Oh, that's nice. That makes me feel like you and this person are going to forgive each other. Virgo, we have seen that there was some turbulence with a soulmate connection for you in the last few readings. And I feel like looking at these cards says to me that you've changed your approach with this person. You're no longer sort of rushing in on them. Rather, I think you have sort of, whether or not you took the guidance of the energy or it just felt natural to you, it's almost like you decided, I'm going to let them come to me. I'm going to leave the door open and I'm going to let them know that the door is always going to be open and I'm going to let them come to me. And it almost feels like heartbreak has been a healing agent here. And it's interesting. It's like that there's been signs pointing you to this and you've been honest with yourself. You've sort of been honest with this situation. And I feel like there is a truth that needs to be told still. It's interesting. It's almost like you and this person need to have a heart to heart. You and this person need to have a chat. And I feel like it's going to be very healing and that it could, I'm going to jump into the tarot cards to see what the sort of outcome will be, but it feels like you've chosen the path of peace rather than the path of, the word that comes to mind is war. Like, I feel like there was this moment where it could have just been a lot of fighting, like arguments and back and forth challenging each other. And it's almost like you've decided, no, I'm going to choose the path of peace because this other path, the other person runs away when I talk to them that way, or when I use those sort of aggressive, challenging conversations. You're noticing that this soulmate of yours doesn't respond to that. They end up fleeing and they run further from you. So it's almost like by being peaceful and leaving the door open and telling them so that they know that the door is open, that is actually allowing them to sort of approach with care, very delicately towards you. And I feel like there is a healing energy here when I see this mending card. I feel like you're getting to a place where you might actually receive resolution because it wasn't working in the other way. So it's an interesting, sometimes the intensity of the challenging moments and difficulties can actually strip away this sort of mask that we wear to sort of hold ourselves separate from other people, and that it's almost like that energy has dissipated. And you've seen that it would be more painful to lose this person due to conflict than to have a peaceful approach might actually bring them around. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's exactly what's happening, is that you're sort of seeing here that none of us are immune to this idea of suffering, but that sometimes sorrow can actually be the agent that breaks your heart wide open. And it feels like that's what's happened here. And that you're going to look back on this moment and realize the truth of it, that there's this idea that you don't want to ever leave this person behind, and you don't want to get left behind. But I think you've learned that in order to sort of leave that door open, that it must be through peace, not challenge. That there's been enough challenge here, and that in order to bring this soulmate connection into healing and forgiveness, it needs to happen through peace. And so it's interesting. It's almost like you and this person have seen the red flags. You're no longer ignoring these red flags, but you're also choosing not to battle against them. If the red flags are there, it's almost like you're putting a white flag next to it saying, well, I surrender. And I'm leaving the door open with peace and love and forgiveness. It's actually a very beautiful start to your reading here, Virgo. It makes me feel like there's been something has changed. Something has opened this up again, but in a very peaceful way. And it's interesting, as I cut the deck, I saw the Ace of Cups and Temperance. And so it's almost like love has come back into this and is now holding fast. The idea of love and forgiveness. And whether or not this soulmate connection will continue into the future, I feel is still up to the other person. When I see this soulmate card in reverse, it makes me feel like the decision is not yours, Virgo, that you've made your decision. Your decision is to keep the door open with love, peace, and forgiveness, and that you've seen red flags, and you may have contributed to some of those red flags. And in response to that, you're putting a white flag next to it and saying, I'm leaving the door open. I want to mend this connection. I want this connection to come back with love, forgiveness, and peace. It's very beautiful. Now let's see, what will the tarot cards show us to clarify some of this energy and give us the areas that it's impacting. Yeah, the peace energy here, we see the Three of Wands. So that's your vision for the future. Your vision for the future that you're sort of stepping into is this idea of being a sort of a peaceful door open. You know, like there's no harm, there's no threat, there's no risk, there's no aggression, there's no punishment, there's nothing like that. It's just love and peace, and you're welcome. Come back. You're welcome anytime. It's almost like that idea that when you love something, you have to set it free. And if it loves you and it was really, really yours in the first place, then it will fly back. And I feel like that's what's happened here. And it's interesting because the imagery on this card kind of makes me feel that way too. That there's this sort of open cage, you know, not that you want to cage this person, but you've left the cage door open. They can fly in, they can fly out. You know, you're no longer sort of trapping or being aggressive with the confrontation. It felt a little aggressive in the past few weeks, but aggressive because you didn't want to lose them. But still, that approach wasn't working for this person. And we see here the Four of Wands, which also reminds me sort of that open gateway, and the Lovers in reverse. So it's like there was a lack of harmony. You weren't seeing eye to eye. You weren't able to be vulnerable with each other. And that sort of created this moment where you decided, I have to be honest that this isn't the way to bring this person back into my arms. You know, this isn't the way to get them to understand my point of view. So I'm going to leave the door open and just be grateful for them in my life. And I feel like that's what you did. And you may have even communicated that. Like, I'm just grateful that you are in my life. And if you need time, you can take that time and I'll be here. You know, and I almost think that you disarmed the other person when you said that. It's like a very disarming sort of situation where now the other person doesn't feel like they have to be defensive or guarded or afraid or anything. They're just now free to come back and know that it'll be a peaceful moment or a peaceful conversation. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, I think that you've disarmed them. They were very anxious. And I think that this represents the red flags, seeing it here on Message in a Bottle. And I think that you've sort of freed them from this anxiety a bit. You've lessened it for them. And you've lessened it for yourself too, I think, by sort of taking the approach of love and forgiveness, because those are such high vibrations that can overcome any obstacle. And I feel like you have the right idea now. Like, I feel like if you want this person back, you have discovered the way to help them feel less trapped and less likely to not return. You know what I mean? Like, you've sort of taken their fear away. You've disarmed them. They're not feeling as defensive anymore. Now, this soulmate connection, interesting. There's the Magician in reverse. So it is up to them. That was my suspicion, is that they're making the decision here, not you. There's not much else you can do except what you've done, which is left the gate open very peacefully. And you've acknowledged that the door is open and I want you to come back into my life and I'm here anytime you're ready and I love you. And it's like, it's really creating space for that person to be able to decide what they want to do. So I think you're seeing the Magician in reverse here because you've done everything you can. Now the power is in their court. So it's up to them to decide what to do. And, they may have this same idea of healing, reunion, forgiveness. Seeing the Two of Cups on the bottom of the deck tells me that whatever switch you've made with this person, to just almost just be grateful that they're in communication with you and that they're, even if they're in and out, that they're still in some of the time. And I feel like you're grateful for that. And that's helping to bridge this connection. You've created a beautiful bridge that's open, and they can walk on that bridge back to you and you'll be there waiting. And that's what it feels like. It feels like you've created this safe space for them to not feel so bound by worry and fear and, like, even though things might still be out of balance between you guys, I feel like it's moving in the direction of healing and love and forgiveness. Oh, I just realized that the video wasn't recording. Let me just see something here. Okay, for some reason the camera stopped filming. I had pulled the Emperor out, so you missed that part. So I'll restate what I had said. The last thing I had said when I noticed the camera stopped filming, so interesting, was that you went first. You led the change in this dynamic and you left the gate open for them with this peaceful energy. And now you're waiting on the other side of the gate for them to cross that bridge and come to you. And I feel like you led that. This was you changing the energy around this connection by opening the gate for them peacefully. And I think that did a lot to disarm them. Now, let's see here to clarify. Yeah, so the truth is that this situation, whatever happened between you and this person, this is how it felt for both of you. I think that the imbalance between you, the miscommunication, the lack of something here that was created by a truth that wasn't told. There was something hidden that caused this effect, where someone was sort of blindsided. Someone got blindsided by something, and that's what caused this lack of balance in the first place. So it's almost like, when you're chasing someone after something like this, they're going to keep running. you know? And I think I said that when the camera wasn't recording, that now that you've stopped chasing them, they're not running anymore. You know what I mean? It's almost like this truly is a soulmate connection where you're mirroring each other. And so you changed the dynamic when you stopped chasing them, and you stopped running, and you said, hey, I'm not going to chase you anymore, but I'm leaving the gate open. So if you ever want to turn around and come back, I'll be here waiting peacefully, and I love you. And and I'm ready to talk about this moment, and I feel like that really did a lot to disarm this person, and they stopped running away, and now they could sort of be coming around. So I gotta say, I feel like you figured out something valuable here, that if you stop chasing them, they'll stop running, because now they don't feel that pressure, And there's the Three of Wands again. So it's interesting, because I feel like they're moving from sort of having red flags to now being like they're turning back to see you waiting on the other side, and they're making their decision. And the decision is in their court. And so seeing that Three of Wands come out here, it says to me that they have stopped running, they've turned around, and they're looking at you, waiting for them. They know that you're there, that you have a peaceful energy, that you don't want to fight with them about this, that you just want to talk and clear the air and mend this connection. I feel like they get it now, Virgo. I feel like they see that now. But that the ball is in their court. And that you're okay with that, because you've left the door open. And, even though whatever happened, isn't that interesting? There's that Nine of Swords again. Yeah. They're looking at it differently. I think at first they saw this as a major injustice, that what happened was not fair, and that, they may see you as like a mother figure and a very maternal figure here. And so they may have really felt like the ground beneath their feet. I feel like they were blindsided by something that happened, and it's like it really shook them to their core here. So that's why the ball's in their court. But I feel like seeing this Nine of Swords in reverse with the Queen of Swords tells me that they're ready to look at this from a different perspective. They're ready to stop focusing so much on their pain and to actually hear you out. I actually think that this is going to mend. Virgo, I think this relationship is going to mend. Bottom of the deck, we see the Death card. So that tells me that transformation is possible here. Transformation is possible here. I feel like your first couple of readings that revealed this story to us did not feel that optimistic. But I actually feel, looking at this, that by you changing the dynamic of sort of really insisting and being kind of like really, really challenging this person into having a conversation with you, you've realized that was not the right approach for this person, that was just making them run faster and further from you. And it's almost like something shifted here where you decided, I'm just going to use love, forgiveness, and peace to show them that I'm safe, and that we can have a safe conversation, and that I'll tell them the truth and hope that they'll forgive, and I think that's exactly what's happening here, that there is an opportunity here for forgiveness, mending, healing, and that there's a transformative quality to this relationship now that wasn't present before. Now, to close your reading, let's just see here. What does Virgo need to surrender or surrender to? I feel like you've already sort of surrendered your own sort of tactics. It's almost like you've changed how you're doing things. Let's see what card you'll receive here for Virgo. Yeah, surrender to non-action. That's exactly it. And silence. Yep, that's exactly it. You're letting them come to you, and bottom of the deck is divine timing. So let's have a look at this. Surrender to non-action says, now is the time to be still and to not act, which is exactly what has helped this situation. Simply breathe and focus on your own power and let others come to you, which is exactly what you've done by leaving the gate open. You've stopped chasing this soulmate and they have stopped running. And it has been successful. It says here, in quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. I think that you have been silent, and that has also been healing. Not only have you sort of been still with your actions, but you've been still with your words. And I feel like that has given this whole thing space to breathe in a new way. You know, it was too much of a chase run. Like, it was too intense before, and now you see the divine timing in all of this. It says here, sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing, which was what was driving you before, I think. It was your ego was driving you to say, this person can't be mad at us. They can't leave us. And then you switched from ego. You went from the ego and into this divine timing that says, if a goal isn't manifesting fast enough, according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow through non-action, through silence, and let things happen as they will. And I think that has led to this situation really turning around. So Virgo, you know, you're bringing healing into this with love, peace, and forgiveness. And the ball is in this other person's court now, but I feel like you have a really solid chance of having that heart-to-heart that you wanted to have. So that you can clear the air. And it's like this person is now thinking about it and contemplating things from a different perspective. What a really interesting reading. I'm going to leave it at that for you, Virgo. I hope this reading has been helpful and resonated for you. It's been my pleasure. I look forward to reading for you again soon, and I'm sending you so much love and light, my friends. Please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting if this reading resonated for you. I look forward to seeing you here again for another reading, my friends. Take care.